Originally, when I did this video, I had the idea that I was going to talk about my collection of double album sets. But looking through them, I decided to go on a different focus. I was inspired by watching a YouTube video by Lou over at daddysensei Silver. I just wanted to give a shout out to Lou over there, to do a video of all of my live albums on vinyl. Now, he did his top 10 live albums on vinyl, but I don't really have that many live albums on vinyl, I suppose. I actually only have about 15. I can't locate one of them, but here are the other 14. This album is probably the oldest of the lot. Despite what it looks like, it's in really great condition. And as usual, they're all in order of year to give these live albums a sense of temporal continuity. I actually am going to do some repairing on this box, but this is the concert for Bangladesh. I'm going to open this up a little bit, show you some of the inside of the booklet. Ravi Shankar, Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, Ringo, here's George. I'll get to Bob Dylan in a minute because I mentioned him. Leon Russell is also part of this concert. Sorry I can't show you all the booklet. And here's his Bobness. These albums do have a custom label, and I'm going to show it to you. That boy on the cover. This also could actually count as a charity album, but it's a live charity album. There's some information on the back about that. I haven't listened to this in a while, but it's a really good set. A concert from Bangladesh, 1972, I believe. Gato Barbieri, El Pompero, recorded live at Montreux, Switzerland. There's Gato with his saxophone, R.I.P. Gato. Again, from 1972. Chuck Rainey, again on that. Lonnie Liston Smith, Bernard Purdy, great people. Here we have pictures at an exhibition, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this album is from 1971. Actually, it's also a 1972 release, so it fits perfectly well in there. Recorded in 71. It's a single album with a gatefold. You can see the middle of it. Now we leap into the mid-70s. Commodores. Great Motown funk band. Live. 1976. This also has a studio track called Too Hot to Trot. There's Lionel Richie up in the upper left-hand corner. I love this picture, you know. You see 4 images of each member and their astrological signs, and then a radar-type map of their tour route. Really good packaging on that album. It's Motown. Donna Summer, Live and More. I got this roughly around the same time as I got Concert for Bangladesh. It was available on CD at that time very readily, but I got it on vinyl because of this little thing. It opens up. There's some pictures of Donna Summer from the Casablanca label. It's also had the MacArthur Park Suite on it. One of the great live albums of the disco era. Lou Rawls Live. I actually got this for $1. One thing I love about live albums is a lot of them have these great gatefolds where you can see all kinds of cool pictures. Live and More and Lou Rawls are from 1978. Devo, Live, 1980. Freedom of Choice Tour, I believe. My dad got this for me. It has a unique kind of packaging. It's not a plastic slipcase, it's a little thicker. But it has a nice custom label, and they wanted you to see that on the back. Actually, I think there's more packaging. Let me take that out so you can see the rest of the album packaging, if possible. Well, I can't do it right now because this album is pretty sealed in. I'm going to have to be careful how to get this album out. It's kind of sealed in, but that's where that's at. Frankie Beverly and Maze, live in New Orleans, 1981. In the studio, even I'm mixed on this band. You know, I really am. Some of their music is brilliant, but live, I feel, is a different story. This is the full version of the album. There's a CD that condenses some cuts, and it has some new studio cuts that were very popular too. Actually, one of them is one of my favorite Maze songs, "Running Away." There's also a hit on here called "Before I Let Go" too. All those on side 4 are studio tracks. Sometimes they do that with live albums. They stick studio tracks on them, and they did that with this one. This is on capital EMI. I'm not showing you any of these labels because, you know, they're just labels that I think everybody already knows. This next album is Tarantula, Chuck Mangione, 1981. There's some pictures on the back. Here's some of the album jacket. Some explanation about when the album was recorded and some personnel listing over here. Dizzy Gillespie, he appears with Chuck on this album. So does Mr. Chick Corea. Let me get full pictures. The J.Geils band, another man I'm going to say R.I.P. to, the late J.Geils. Showtime, historic live album. You know what they say, historic. Entertaining, informative, and fun. Cute. There's J.Geils over there. It's Peter Wolf. 1982. Saga. They're a band I've been getting into a lot lately. They're, if you can imagine it, somewhat of a more, I wouldn't say poppier, but, you know, similar to Genesis in the 80s in some ways. You know, they're not 70s prog rock. They're more of an 80s progressive pop, I guess would be the word. This is a live album called In Transit. It's an entirely digital live album recorded in Munich, West Germany, and Copenhagen, Denmark in 1982. Speaking of Genesis, how apropos. 3 sides live. This is another situation where they had literally 3 sides of this 2-record set as a live set from their tour for the Abacab album. And they had a 3rd side that actually had all new material on it. There's a picture inside. Smoky live show. Yes, 9012 Live, the solos. This is from their 9012 tour. You can see by the symbol there. And actually what they do on this album is they take out solos that they did live and actually put them onto an album. It's kind of a unique project. I think Frank Zappa did something like that once. Duran, Arena. Some of these albums were given to me by my boyfriend. He had doubles of them. This is an excellent album, but it has some scratches and it skips. It actually has a custom label that I'll show you. Here's the custom label. This is actually the 2nd side of the album. Put that back in. There's also, if I remember, this is not a double album. Yes, I remember right. There is a booklet to this. It has members of the band on it. And pictures. Simon LeBone, Nick Rhodes, Andy Taylor, and Roger Taylor. This was before Arcadia and Power Station the next year, so, you know, it's the last thing the original entire lineup of Duran actually did. So, in that spirit, there is my collection of 14 live albums. Now, I don't know, for the sake of room, if I'll be getting much more vinyl in the future, but I've listened to a lot of these, and live albums, you know, they aren't always as exploitive as you think. Sometimes even a rock group can extend to what they do outside the studio, and a lot of these albums showcase that. And you also hear conversation with the audience, and they try to make the audience noise as non-intrusive as possible on a lot of these records, especially the jazz ones. You know, musicians go way out on it. Sometimes live albums were even preferred in the jazz world. Sonny Rollins even said that, you know, sometimes he viewed that studio albums were commercials to get people to come into the concerts. I can't say I 100% agree with that. I love the craft you can do on studio albums, but live albums have their place, and they do on vinyl. So enjoy your music, keep music in the studio, keep it live too. Peace.